think that there's a general propensity for people to view math research as something that's purely theoretical. You might have an idea, implement it in a paper, write a little bit about it, and submit it to a conference where it lies at the back of archive for all time. I think that there's loads of growth in terms of places like open source. Publishing Menem is a really great example of this. It now has upwards of like 30,000 stars, and it's impacted so many different people, right? Even though it was originally written as like this one thing to create math videos. So I'm curious as to know how you think building for open source first might change the future of academia and research as a whole. How else do you, or what else do you think could be done to better help the field communicate?
Well, I mean, definitely the idea of anytime that there's like scientific results, that what you publish alongside the paper is also code associated with it. I think that can be very interesting. I mean, at least in the context of like pure math, it is rather interesting that like proof checking software is starting to gain more steam, where what it can look like to publish a result could in theory be like publishing code that other people could run. And what you see then is there's like various research mathematicians I've talked to who've never used GitHub, like are never on it at all. But they're like, oh, I've started to like try to learn Git a little bit because of these like projects I'm doing with collaborators that involve using Lean, like the certain proof checker. And what that probably has is then a bunch of outsized benefits where simply by getting them on GitHub and like doing something there, then next time they put together some Mathematica notebook for their own work, they're like, oh, I might as well put on GitHub too. And like just sort of having the gateway drug to like get them started on it might have all of these sort of ancillary benefits. Because like, I don't know, I started putting Manum up there open source mostly because I wanted some place for it to like live and exist, and GitHub's the most convenient and might as well be open source. Why not? Like it was just because I had like kind of used it for other projects that there was a level of familiarity. And I think if every publication had associated with it that that sort of like contribution, it's not even what you would get from those publications themselves, I guess is what I'm saying, but it's instead like what happens when all the scientists are really comfortable with that as a culture and as a set of tooling. So I don't know if that's a coherent answer other than just like mirroring the implicit optimism in your question that like seems like a good thing and seems like the world's moving that way, and I hope it does so faster.
Yeah, totally. There was this one statement in the DeepMind documentary about AlphaGo that really struck me. They were commenting on the fact that like they had all of these reporters all like struggling to get at them at like the final conference in Seoul. And like that was so out there for people in academia, because normally like the norm is literally just you create a neural network and you put it into a paper and that's it, right? Like this sorts of thing where you publicize it in like such an interesting way isn't really something that's super common. So yeah, thank you so much.
It's not clear how healthy that is, though. Like, there's some things where it definitely is good to have a lot of public attention, but there's sometimes when maybe that just directs your research in ways that, like, is it necessarily the best strategy towards general AI to work on games? Like, maybe you can make some cases, and they'll definitely like make cases there. Maybe not, but it definitely is like very tangible and easy for people to like see what it's doing and super measurable, and it makes it so that you can have this like publicity event around it that then helps generate more funding. But it might be the case that if you just had a pure researcher with all the resources they wanted saying like, what's your strategy for this, that they would have painted a completely different road. I don't know. And also then there are other distractions that come from popularity in terms of just like where your mind share goes and things. So the benefits of like open source and all of that would, I would say, would not necessarily be for the publicity side of it, but would be for just other implications for like your own workflow and like how much tooling is at your fingertips when you want to try something new.